big sky, big potential. In association with Mills and Reeve, this is Eastern Promise. Achieving more together. Welcome to the podcast that showcases the sweet sound of success in the east of England. It's a heady, powerful blend of our people, places and potential. You guessed it, this is Eastern Promise. I'm Mike Rigby, and this week I'm taking to the streets. No, not to protest, but to promote. I'm hitting the proud pavements of North Walsham to discover how a fantastic initiative from Norfolk County Council is ensuring everyone knows that high streets matter. I'll be on the retail beat with the council's own Alexandra Hemen, who's leading this programme as she shows me what a difference this scheme has made. So let the till bells ring! Because high streets do matter. Let's learn more about this trailblazing scheme on this week's Eastern Promise. Right. Before I launch in with my report from the bustling boulevards of North Walsham, let's address the elephant in the room. Hi, Graham. Yes, internet shopping, but we've all done it. Thank you. And we'll keep on doing it. Thank you. There's no judgment here. Even if we, now all of us in the east of England, forswore forever that certain website named for the world's largest river, it would barely register over Jeff Bezos' breakfast. Probably because, for the most important meal of the day, Jeff eats an octopus. Ew. Yes, I googled that, so you don't have to. The most online places in the UK, including Cambridge, also have some of the most vibrant street scenes in the country. And though the internet has clearly had an impact on our high streets, it's our response to the challenge that matters. In any case, our shopping habits always have inevitably changed with new technology. What high street retailers need are the skills to adapt their offer, to move with the times and generate even more pride in place. All of which is why the Norfolk County Council High Streets Matter initiative is so important. It's a package of support measures that was launched earlier this year in partnership with the new Anglia Growth Hub and the Federation of Small Businesses. I was delighted to be invited by my guest on this podcast, Alexandra Hemen, to join her in the North Norfolk market town of North Walsham to discover for myself the positive impact the programme has had. Well, it's a Wednesday. It's the Black Swan in North Walsham. It's my first proper visit to North Walsham, and I have to say already the buzz is incredible. I'm not just saying that. I literally walked from the car park, and you can feel Market Town on the rise. And because he's a very, very busy individual, we're very fortunate to have him on the podcast with us this morning. I'm going to ask our first guest today to introduce himself to you.
Lovely, thank you. Well, welcome to the Black Swan Pub and Theatre. My name is Joseph Ballard, and I'm Director of New Stages Project CIC. So we're a community interest company, and it was almost to the day, 2 years to the day last week that we've had this place. So it's our second year anniversary of having a pub and a theatre, and everything happened very quickly from running a community interest company, doing some theatre shows and some classes, to suddenly having a pub and creating a theatre, and that all happened within 10 days, and 2 years later we're still standing.
I'm going to come back to you, but I just want to introduce get our other guest around the table to introduce herself before we move on.
Yes, I'm Selina, and I'm one of the owners of By the Boards, which is a crafts and arts, original artist, local artist, handmade artwork.
I think you're already getting. I mean, there's the atmosphere here. You're getting a feel of North Walsham already. But Joseph, tell us. We've got Alexandra Hemen here from Norfolk County Council. We'll introduce you in a minute, Alexandra. Tell us. How have you achieved this town, this buzz in the town? I mean, it's all, you've obviously had the High Streets Matter initiative from Norfolk County Council, but a lot of that has also got to come from the town itself. So perhaps you could talk us through your experiences.
I think a lot of this is in North Walsham. You've got lots of mixtures of attitudes, and I love the town and the sense of community, but often in small market towns you will get people saying, oh, you can't do that, or that won't work, or what are you doing that for, or that's too nice. And actually I'm always the one, if someone says you can't do that, I'm trying to prove them wrong all the time. So I have to admit, throughout my life, this is proving people wrong, and it comes back from, I've always run theatres and arts centres, and I've done like city festivals around the country, worked abroad and stuff, and then I worked on London 2012 for 4 years, and that was like national campaigns about inspiring the country with the spirit of the Olympic and Paralympic Games. So my job was to infuse people and get communities to respond to the Games, and I loved it. And then what's nice is to come back to my hometown of North Walsham and have that spirit and go, right, this is what we're trying to do, let's do it together. And the most emotional time I had was when we got the pub. I got the keys on a Monday morning, and for 2 weeks we saw over 60 volunteers in and out of this building with paintbrushes, mops, bleach, so much bleach you would not believe. This place needed a total clean-up, and everything you see has been painted, sanded, polished, varnished by
lovely.
And it's all volunteers. Like the bar took 11 coats of black paint to turn it black, and the guy doing it was nearly 80, and when I stopped him after 2 hours he said, I'll keep going, Joseph, I'll just take more painkillers. And he was there for 10 days doing it. But what you've got is people turned up who I've not seen since I was a kid, turning up at the doors of the pub saying, I've got a few hours, I'll come and help paint that. This is awesome what you're doing. And it's like the rest of the town knew what we were doing before we even opened the doors, because it's like pubs are important to communities, but that I've run art centres in the town before, but it's like people gravitate towards something that's going to bring them together. And when you've got a town like North Walsham, you've got an amazing marketplace. It's like really nice and lovely. So you think traditionally that's where people would go to meet. But with high streets and business and the economy how it is and stuff, we need to find these other ways to get people into the town centre that isn't just through selling them some stuff in a shop, but actually can we get them in to do something for free? Experience is a big thing. So we're creating experiences.
The very word.
Yeah, and we had our Smugglers Lantern Fair, which was part of the funded project, which I'll talk about in a second. And we had 300 people here, and one family spent 6 hours on site. And the dad of the family said to me, I've only spent a £5 when I've been here like all day, because it wasn't about spending money, it was about enjoying themselves and being part of something else. And that to me is so important, that people feel part of something. And to me, a community is only somewhere if it's got a sense of place. And that's what we want to create with our market town, is a sense of place. It's a destination for people to come into, but more importantly, the people that live and work and spend money here, they get what we're trying to do as well.
Pride in place. I mean, it really feels like you and all of you have uncorked something that was kind of bubbling, there already. If you can, if something anyway, uncork a bubbling thing. But you've unleashed something that was you've given it an outlet, and you've given them something that they wanted, that they were crying out for, and you've made it not about the money.
Yeah.
And
yes.
That in this day and age, that almost seems perverse to say that, but I think hopefully that's coming back, because you've actually acted out of community spirit, and people have responded to that. And you're really injecting character. I mean, you were talking earlier about a show you've put on, and that sounded amazing. I mean, that just to have that. I mean, I'm going to ask you a slightly personal question now, and forgive me for this, but can we clone you? And can we clone you and sort of send you out?
You'd love to clone you.
Oh God, that'd be scary, wouldn't it? I would clone myself for here, but I think that'd be scary to let them out into the world. It'd be like a weird episode of Black Mirror.
I suppose people everywhere saying, it's not as good as North Walsham, which is a fair comment. But you've talked about all the work to bring this away. I suppose the question is, how has the programme helped you? What has it done to aid you? Because it sounds like you've got this huge huge, London 2012, my God, this huge hinterland of experience. So how is the programme giving you that extra bit to get going?
Well, what's been really good is there's been a focus on North Walsham, and North Walsham has always felt a bit left out. So whenever you talk to someone in North Walsham, they go, oh, we've missed out on this, we've missed out on that. Now, a few years ago, we had the Heritage Action Zone project, which was multiple councils working together, which was £4.5 million spent on the marketplace, which was a fantastic project. But it's not just about the bricks and mortar and making it look nice, it's about the people to animate it. So I was involved in the HAS, and there was some animosity around what that did, how it did, and it's brilliant for the town. But then getting involved in the High Streets Matter project made me think about business acumen. It made me think about, actually, I want to do all these things, but I can't do all these things if there's no money, if we're not doing it. So I don't want to just ask for money and funding, I want to self-generate it. I want the community to pay for what they're going to appreciate. I want them to invest in it, whether that's buying a cup of tea, or if it is buying a ticket or going on a ghost walk. So what, with Alex's knowledge, like an oracle of knowledge, it helped sort of fit into the business way of side of things as well, where we can all come up with these amazing ideas, but Alex would say, how are you going to pay for it? Does it make you any money? And that's the questions you have. And actually, we have to think like that. We're not in a world anymore where, before Brexit, there was European funding around. In the 90s and early 2000s, there was funding for arts and culture and community. Right now, everyone's strapped for cash, whether it's the government or the public or whoever. So we need to self-generate those funds. And not everything costs money, but I'm aware that business has to be a grounding for what we do. So we run as a community interest company, which is a social enterprise. It is a business, although we can't, if there is profit, it has to be reinvested into our activity. And then we've also got a charity, which is the theatre, which is about, let's get lots of money because eventually we want to buy the site because we're tenants. So we've got a name for that charity. But for me, the programme, the High Streets Matter programme, was so important because North Walsham needed a kick up the bum. You've got people like myself, and you've got By the Broads and Selina, everyone going, let's do it. But actually having a council initiative, investing time and knowledge and in our town meant a lot to us, and it brought us all together at meetings online or in person, and it was so good to meet everyone because we all kind of know each other in town, but we very rarely sit and down and talk and go, oh, it's nice to see what you're doing, is that there? So even that networking phase of getting us together was great, but the questions that everyone had was valid for everyone. We all learnt from each other. I've learnt more about raw pet food than I think I'd ever need to know about, because we're from the pet food guy, and it's but actually it was really fascinating getting together, learning about business acumen, but also realising the support is there and you have to ask for it. And if we haven't got a counsellor or someone like Alex doing the course, actually I can go to somewhere else and go, oh, you was on the course with me, how would you look at this? And it's that sense of camaraderie.
That's really interesting. You've got that sort of cohort then as well to sort of as a sounding board, as a you have a slightly different perspective, but you've got access to the same information. What do you think?
Yeah.
And I think that's really wonderful. And
I suppose I'm going to bring my other guests in at this point. Alex, can you just react to what you've heard from Joseph?
So, when I started the programme and liaised with Norfolk District Council, who took me under their wing and actually taught me about North Walsham. We've got a district councillor here that's also county council called Lucy. Lucy sat me down, put an arm around me and said, I will tell you what's going on. So honesty was key. We launched the programme, we sat in Joe's theatre, we sat down and everybody told us what they think, truly what they think. So I dug deep in diplomacy and I thought, all right, these guys are passionate, they're clever, they've got fantastic business. There was about 8 or 10 of us. And then I was blown away by Joseph because his energy was fantastic. His ability to make me want to come and volunteer here, drive for an hour and a half from my house to do the night shift here. I wanted to do that, but I have a baby, so I can't. So we sat down and we talked about what North Walsham needs. And it was a long list. And I had to really go and talk to some stakeholders and tell them some truths. And they were so receptive.
Really, that's great.
Fantastically so, actually. So rolling over, let's say 8 weeks in, we did our online courses, and then we all came back together in the last workshop. And the stakeholders were there at the table. And they listened to the feedback, and they've put a project through, and they got funding for what these guys wanted, which is a central website for North Walsham, where all our events, no matter who does them, are together. And you guys wanted some level of business discussion and forum, you wanted better signage, you wanted more lights. And you know what? Those stakeholders, which is town council and the mayor, were absolutely amazing at listening actively and making things happen for them. What Joe and I worked on was a project called the Nowhere Festival. And I'm going to sort of ask Joe to give you the details of that. It was what you'd expect from a grant application. 10 o'clock at night, emails between me and Joseph going, you haven't sent me the quote for £1.47, I need £1.29 more. So it was hard graft. And you have a full-time job and another full-time job. I have a full-time job. But do you know what? We got it over the line in a very short period of time. So I'll let Joe talk to you about the Nowhere Festival, and I'm sorry I keep calling you Joe and Joseph in the same sentence. I don't know why I do that.
In North Walsham, people who know me when I was little call me Joe, but people via the pub call me Joseph. But I'll answer for anything. But it's so with the project grant that we put in with the Town Ambition Programme, there were two main projects. One was called the Love North Walsham Festival, which we're going to do next February around Valentine's Day. So we're looking at love in the generic sense, like real love for community in the town, and we've got some ideas about that. But what we've just done is the 9-day Nowhere Festival, and it's a bit like an arts fringe festival without using the word arts or fringe because we want it to be inclusive. And it's called Nowhere because it's got a big NW on it, like North Walsham. Yeah. And when I speak to my friends in London and around going, I'm doing this thing, and they go, North Walsham, where's that? That's in the middle of nowhere. So we've got the Nowhere Festival, and that's about putting North Walsham on the map. And that had theatre, cabaret, music. The jazz night was brilliant like that. But then we have like Halloween parties. We had the Smugglers Lantern Fair and the parade where we got people to take part in workshops and recycle things to make lanterns that then lit up during the parade. And over those 9 days, we saw people we've never seen before. We saw people who would never normally engage with an arts organisation or a theatre or even a pub before. But what it meant is we were doing something cool and quirky, themed around Halloween and the mysterious, but you've kind of got a following there. People love it. And we had people signing up for ghost walks who came on a ghost walk one night and then came to us every single day for the rest of the festival, whether it was for a cup of coffee or whether it was to see a show. But the thing about it is people got the gist of Nowhere, North Walsham, let's be part of something, let's make North Walsham somewhere. And that was kind of our thing behind it. And what was really nice is being part of the Town Ambition Programme, getting that grant, it meant that we've got some funding to play a little bit and take the risks, because when it comes down to money, there's such a thing about taking a calculated risk, but when you've got a backer like some funding, or when you've got someone like Alex to talk to going, oh, that didn't work, or how shall I fit that out, that gives you a basis to go, this is where we're going to go forward with it. The other thing about the grant is it's match funded, so they don't give us all the money to do it, so we've got to put money into it. And I think that's an interesting way where we're investing our own time and money into this project. We're not just expecting handouts to do it, but having that project and then people seeing that it was supported by local councils and by initiatives meant that the whole thing seemed a bit more valid and a bit more proper, and that actually it had backing to do something else as well.
I mean, I think, just to take you back to the point you made earlier, and this came through really strongly, is that if you want the benefits, that will come with a bill. But what you've done, and I think is really clever, is you've made sure that the people of North Walsham are happy to pay it, because they value what they're getting for all the money. They see that this cheap at twice the price.
Yeah, and we did free events, but then I'm always encouraging people to come in and have a cup of tea or coffee or support the pub. And like, you've enjoyed this free thing, please support our pub. And I'm always trying to signpost people over. But then I'm also go and explore town and stuff like that as well. Go and check out the old buildings, and we talk about the new places in town. So we talk about By the Broads, we talk about Dolly's, the new gift shop as well. So when I'm on the ghost walks, I reference the building that By the Broads is in, because I like what these guys are doing. They're doing what we do, and then everyone looks through the windows as I'm doing the ghost walk and things like that. Then I work my way around and go, here's a new shop. I remember when that shop used to sell hats years ago, but what you're doing is this year's ghost walks, I put a bit of a theme on the actual businesses in town and what's there now and what used to be there, and suddenly people are like, I could spend a day in North Walsham.
Wow, that's amazing. And I'm really impressed, really impressed. And we haven't actually moved from the seats yet, so let's go and actually have a tour around the streets of North Walsham and see what we can find out. But please finish your drink first.
So, here's North Walsham.
It is. It's wonderful.
It is wonderful. So
I can see so many shops of people ducking in and out of them, and you know, there's obviously a popular cafe called over the road, and
it's your typical town. You know, there's people sat down on the benches, people walking their dogs, all demographics. It's welcoming, and it's how a local community should feel. There is something for everybody. There's a pharmacy, there's American pizza, and then there's a really beautiful gift shop there. There's a Santander, and there's quality discounts, because you have to bring everything together to attract all your demographics.
You've actually got, you know, a bank. Yeah,
there is a bank.
There really is everything.
And right in front there's a Morrison's Daily, and actually there is a space, because in the market for supermarkets, there's a space for beautiful craft shops, and there's a space for discount shops, because high streets don't have to all be super premium. And some areas of Norfolk and Suffolk have become so premium that actually are unaffordable.
It's almost, it puts you off going, because you just think, how much money am I going to be parting with just for going in the door?
So I'm just going to open the door to Dolly's and sort of. So Dolly's, this is Evie. And Evie's the florist, and they have been here for 2 weeks, I think.
2 weeks?
2 weeks.
You could have said years and I would have believed you.
I know. Hey, sorry we're a little bit later.
It's all right. Mum had to dart off.
Yeah, that's...
She had to pick up the dog from
So how long have you moved? Is it 2 weeks we've moved?
2 weeks tomorrow.
2 weeks tomorrow. So Dolly's gifts and Evie's, we call Blooms by
Dolly.
Blooms by Dolly is you, and gifts, but we could just call it Dolly's.
Yeah, it's just Dolly's as a whole sort of thing.
As a catch-all term.
And you've relocated 2 weeks ago from a small shop up to here, and you okay? Hello, how are you? Sorry, am I in the way a little bit?
Oops. Right, are you all right saying a few words?
Yeah, sure.
You'll be fine.
I won't use anything that's in any way doesn't convey the brilliance of what you do, because that's why I'm here.
So it's not live.
Okay.
No, I will edit it. Oh God, I couldn't be live.
You could be live.
Do you know, because you know, I once did a one with you sort of sometimes use the tiny little microphones you see on telly, and a lady scientist compared it to an intimate part of the body, and I just went, I nobody has ever said that on this before, and nobody's ever said that since. So you know, I wouldn't say I'm hard to shock, but you know, the people have done far worse. Anyway, hello. Hello. You're Evie, are you not?
Yes, I am.
And we're in Dolly's, are we not?
We are.
And it's fantastic. And Alex, you sort of said to me just before we came in, it's been open 2 weeks. I can't believe it. It feels like you've been here forever. What a wonderful shop. It's so just describe. Can I invite you to hold the stick of doom? And right, there you go, so people can hear you clearly. And it's all right, it's fine. Don't worry, you can't do anything wrong. Just describe where we are for me. I know it's weird because you see it every working day, but I mean, but just this. I mean, what do you sell?
A mixture of home decor, gifts, just a bit of everything for everyone, basically.
Sorry, I really put you on the spot there.
You're all right.
Yeah, I love the cards as well.
Oh, I love them. They're a really good brand as well. It's Ode, and they have just such a wide range.
I'm tempted to buy that blue card at the top there.
Oh, it is
for my
absolutely
father,
amazing.
just to see what my mother would do.
That is my plan for my father's birthday.
You see, we're on the same page already.
It feels perfect for that sort of car.
No, the green one, definitely the green one.
Oh, that one is really good as well.
Fantastic. So, I mean, are these kind of, what have you got as a kind of mix of sort of local and made, and how does it work?
So we have a few different brands from local businesses, but we also have a mix that we choose ourselves and get elsewhere. For example, we have Sully Boo candles, which are locally made, and some glass, like stained glass things that are made by someone who lives in North Walsham. And we have earrings that are made by someone who lives in Cromer, so we have a proper mix of different local people as well as things that me and Mum like to choose. And we also have my absolute favourite mugs right now, which are from someone who did the pottery throwdown.
Hang on. Oh, wow. My goodness me. That's quite a thing.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah. They are probably some of my favourite things in the shop.
I love them. I love them. Well, it's fantastic. I can't even read them back. There's so many things here I'm not sure I'm going to read out because I know my mother does listen. But you better. So wow, and so you've obviously, Alex, could you sort of tell us how you've sort of come to know this place? Because you were clearly almost quite proud of it yourself as we came.
I was. So I met Evie and Helen, who are family. That's June, July, and they were both on Retail Excellence. The best thing about this place, Dolly's, is that Evie is our in-house florist. So upstairs.
So I do a mixture of dried flowers and fresh flowers, and I now do plants as well. I do it for weddings, occasions, just made to order, and it's just, I've got a proper mix, and I only started it back in Easter, so it's a bit newer than Dolly's itself.
Yes.
But
you're diversifying already, so
yeah.
Wow. Is that...
It's amazing. It's like starting amazing, and it's growing, and it's amazing.
So what's your been experience of working with Alex? I know she's here. Pretend she's not here.
Oh, honestly, the course that we did with Alex was so helpful to me, and I have taken so much of it on board, and that's possibly how I've grown recently, because I've been doing so much different contact things that we learn in different bits, and it was amazing.
So how would you sort of describe how you were when you started from when the process ended?
So I was very much just starting out when we did the course and things like that, and I was working from home with it, wasn't I, in my garden. And then I started growing and doing markets and things, which I still do, which is lovely. But now me and Mum have both taken it all into account, and we've managed to get this amazing place, and we've gained a lot on social media as well over the past few months and stuff.
Well, because I've been to lots of places, both as a just normal Joe Q public and doing this. And I have to say, take my hat off to you. You've really created. I mean, like the Black Swan is a thing in its own. It's sui generis. Almost, it's its own little creation, and it's wonderful.
Joe is absolutely amazing.
I'll keep that in. You can hear that.
Yeah.
But I mean, what you've done here with Alex's help and the help of the partners in the scheme is create somewhere that feels really high end. And I would have said you'd been here years. I mean, I actually was like,
Thank you.
Weeks? Oh my God. I mean, I'm just going to grab, if you don't mind, a quick photo, because I like the neon as well.
Oh, that was Mum's absolute. She was like, we have to.
Perfect.
Evie, your confidence over the last few months has been amazing, and this has been really stressful because Evie, Helen and the dad have built everything, so they've done everything themselves. There's been no outside help. You've had a tiny grant for the sign from the programme.
Which was amazing, and we couldn't thank you more with it.
It's done, and then you've got a little sort of financial support to get really good floristry thing, and your workshops are booked up.
Yeah, they are, and it's amazing.
It couldn't be better than that. And actually, it's been really stressful. But what's the best thing that you told me this morning? The turnover has quadrupled.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, in just 2 weeks. It's insane. Footfall here is just amazing, and it was definitely the right decision.
This is a trailblazing scheme in a trailblazing town, and I've just loved every part of it. You know, just being here has just been a wonderful, wonderful experience. And you know, the scheme is clearly doing so much good and lifting so many businesses, you know, to a much better place, a better place of operating. Because Alex, you've been really clear that it's not just about vibes, although important as they are. It's also about actually
Health and safety.
Health and safety, and doing business properly, knowing how to run a business. And, it's really been inspiring. And I sort of thank you so much for sharing that with us. Thank you, Alex, for telling us all about it and bringing us to experience Dolly's and the high street here in North Walsham, which is buzzing. It's absolutely buzzing. So, clearly a lot of good is being done here. Selina, I'll bring you in at this point. And one thing I noticed just on a short walk to this pub is that there is a selection of shops in the street scene that I don't think I've seen in many market towns
there's
at all.
Such a selection. I mean, I think we've seen with Joe's passion and everything, we're all on the same page. We all want good for North Walsham. And we seem, even though we do different businesses, there's always that little bit that clicks in with something that Joe does, sort of falls over to something that we do, and something that we do fall over to him. So it's great that you've got somebody else to support you. And we had the Retail Excellence course to, get our name out there and realise that if you're really passionate and you want to do this, you can. I mean, we've got 55 local arts and crafters with us now. We're full. People are on the waiting list trying to get in with us, because how we deliver that is we wanted to help the community, we wanted to help the crafters out there, we wanted to help the artists out there, but we didn't want them to pay a high price for trying to sell their wares. We didn't want to have to push them onto websites or online where you can't see the goods, you can't feel the goods.
You basically making use of the advantage you have in the physicality of a shop, yes, and of someone, a physical human to talk to, yes, and to actually size up, because many listeners I'm sure will have had experience of ordering something going either that's A, far too big, or B, far too small. I really love none of you have sort of raised the problems. You've just gone to the things that you've done, which is sort of like Eastern Promise in a nutshell. This is what we're all about.
Exactly.
And that's wonderful.
Like Joe, we signed the lease agreement on this premises. We didn't know whether it was going to work. 2 weeks it was up and running. People were walking past saying, "Oh, what's it going to be? What are you doing?" And we say, "Oh, we're arts and crafts." And, "Oh, I make this, so would you be interested?" And the community really got behind us. We're not for profit also. We don't aim to profit from our artists and craftspeople, which means that aren't putting a high markup on what they sell with us. It's quality goods, but it's not, and all handmade locally, but it's not a markup on there, so then they can deliver it to the people of North Walsham and to the customers. They're not paying a high price just to make us rich. That isn't the idea of it. We're there for the community. We have our regulars come in and see us. The dogs come in and see us for treats and everything. So it's just a lovely, lovely community. We're now getting people from Cambridge who have come to see us and they've come to bought things. But we had people a few weeks ago. From Norwich. They came to see us and they said, "We didn't know this was here. We didn't know North Walsham had so much to offer."
Do you know, one of the things I'd love is if Norfolk could go with the slogan, "Norfolk, now you know." Because, I kid you not, this has happened before. A friend of mine, a listener, who's an academic in Cambridge at the university, in charge of their partnerships with healthcare and the health industry, I invited her to come and check out one of the Quadram Institute on the Norwich Research Park. She did the tour instead of me with the microphone, and we sat outside and said, "They can't hear you in there now. What did you think?" "I didn't know this was here." And so, I think we need to find that balance, I think, between that kind of, I think Norfolk likes to keep itself to itself and just enjoy all its treasures, but we do have to sort of turn an outward face. And it really doesn't surprise me what you've said at all, because so many people, when I've asked in the past, all these people who work in Cambridge go, "Oh, I went to the Norfolk Coast, it was great." And you're on that, here is on the route, and I would encourage everyone, please stop at Norfolk.
When we first opened By the Boards, I did actually go onto the radio, and I said, because I realised myself, even being a local girl, I realised that you can get on the train from Norwich to go through Wroxham, which is the boards, and everybody loves the boards, and go there. You can then carry on to Cromer, and you can carry on to Sheringham, and we're on that line. Why not get off of that line and have a look around North Walsham, have a coffee, have something to eat, come and see Joe, come and see all the other independents around there, and then carry on to Sheringham and Cromer. You're supporting all of the areas then, because we didn't aim to come up against other galleries in Cromer and Sheringham. We said, look, work with us. Somebody could do a gallery tour and go around all of them, and there's enough people people out there who loves what we do. So just join in, go round everyone, support local, and that's what we're all about and what we're trying to do. We're now doing workshops for people. We've done a few this year, but they're really going to kick up a lot more next year. There'll be knit and natter groups, your traditional things, for people who are lonely to come out, come and sit there, do a little bit of crafting, do a little bit of knitting, or they can learn how to do sea glass and come on the workshops and paint, we've got so many lovely courses coming up, jewellery making, and like I say, we're not for profit, we keep everything reasonable for them, so then we can deliver those courses reasonable for people. And we're just trying to get lonely people out there, people who want to come and have a chat. Come and sit. You don't even have to buy anything the first time. We realise that people come in and chat to us, and they'll come and chat to Joe, but then they might come in and they'll remember you next time when they do want a gift for somebody.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've had people, even a few months, we've been open 7 months now, and we've had people around the corner in North Walsham still say, I didn't know you here, you're the first, we've actually came, and it's amazing what's on our doorstep. They just didn't realise, but it's through people like me and Joe and the other independents being passionate about what we do that we get people in there.
Alexandra.
I was reflecting on what they were both saying, and there's big conversation academically, economically about the future of our high street. Some incredibly negative, some incredibly positive. Obviously, central government is finally sort of paying attention and putting some pride of place grants in. But one of the things that we need to create on our high streets is memorable moments.
We talked about experience, didn't we?
Experience is one, absolutely, but we come out with our families and we will pay quite a lot of money to go to Cambridge Botanical Gardens because it's memorable. We go to Sheringham to go on the steam train because it's memorable. But when you have a young family where you are out and about with your elderly parents or grandparents, moments can be very small. It can be picking up a pair of earrings in Selina's shop. They have a sausage dog on them, and you've just maybe bought a new puppy or lost your puppy, and that moment, because you are all together in a beautiful environment, creates long-standing memories of place, and that kind of memories cannot be created anywhere else other than a physical location. You come and see Joseph of the Black Swan and see pantomime. You don't have to go to London to see the pantomime, because the pantomime is the same. It's the same. Look behind you. It's
not about
scary.
that, though, is it? Yeah, exactly.
It's about maybe on a smaller budget with younger children, only travelling for 10 minutes, 15 minutes in the car, maybe having free parking because you are on a budget, and life is a bit more expensive now. And coming to a small place that is very loved, and you will always have those deep memories associated with North Walsham, with the Black Swan, with Joseph, with Selina, with Helen at Dolly's. And then your child or your grandparent or yourself has become a local to that place, and that sense of place follows you throughout your lifetime. That's what high streets need to do better, get us to belong there, be grounded in a physical location. And it's hard.
It is, but I mean, what it appears to me from what the Norfolk County Council have done and what you've done for the community is you haven't tried to sort of impose an external laundry list of this is what you have to do to be successful. You've sort of taken what is inherently here and given a bit of advice, but you've basically encouraged them to be themselves, which I think is am I right? Is that
you
part of
are
it?
right. I mean, I did give them quite a lot of steer on pricing and merchandising and profit and loss accounts and how to market ourselves.
Well, that's still a mystery to me anyway, so carry on.
So all of that, maybe we could have a chat about it. And, you know, there was a part of our retail excellence workshop was operationals, and we talked about health and safety and risk assessments and, you know, first aid kits and how we have to prepare ourselves and protect ourselves as business owners in order to have a successful business, but also protect our brand reputation. So a lot of it was structured. So the knowledge sharing and the knowledge exchange part of the workshops were a bit tough at times.
I think you delivered it in a really fun way, though. I mean, some of those things that you've now talked about, like risk assessments and profit and loss, it can be quite boring, but you deliver it in such a good way, and we're all so passionate about it that we really took it on board and listened rather than think, oh, this is boring, we're switched off now.
I mean, one of the things I like to try and do, I mean, this might be the same, but one of the things I took sort of very clearly from previous iterations of the things I've been doing from university and onwards is you have to be yourself. You have to be the product, almost be the product you want that you would buy.
You can't say that you're there for the community and then not portray that. You truly have got to be. If you haven't got that feeling and that isn't the way about you, then you're not going to succeed. They're not going to accept you. The community are very intelligent and know who they're going to follow.
Absolutely.
And they know if you're just saying that opposed to actually doing it.
And I don't. The podcast isn't always serious. I mean, I've already recorded the links for this edition, did it last night, and I'll tell you now, it is a bit tongue-in-cheek in places, and it made me chuckle, and I hope it makes you chuckle. But you've got it. But the thing is, one of the ways to build confidence in your offer is by just basically being you.
Yeah.
And that carries an authentic. You took a sharp intake of breath there, Alexandra.
I did take a breath.
Do you doubt me?
I do not doubt you. Authenticity is.
That's what I was driving at. Thank you. That was one word when I was
Immensely important for business owners, but so is business acumen.
True.
Which is where of the people I've met in North Norfolk, but also in this, where we worked with the local council there, and the town clerk was amazing. In Aylsham, talent is huge in Norfolk. Every person I've met is incredibly talented and a specialist, true expert at what they do. But however, business is not an art. Business is a successful business is composed of elements that are science or academia or pure knowledge and experience. So Joseph is the most inspirational young man that I've come across in a long time. But I want to make sure he sleeps well at night and gets rest because he's got enough money in his bank account to pay himself a decent wage, because that's the true economics can be false when it's full of talent. We need these people to pay themselves a decent wage, because that's the point of this. Business is about paying yourself a decent wage so you're comfortable, your children are safe, and you can pay your mortgage or your rent, and then deliver for your community. I'm really incredibly passionate about ensuring business owners are looked after from a mental health perspective, because they don't carry the world of financial burden on their shoulders. They are looked after from a compliance perspective, so they're not a risk. They are looked after because they're part of a community, and we put an arm around them. As Norfolk County Council, as Norfolk District Council, yourself, we put an arm around these people because they are so important to our communities, but they're also people. And business owners carry more burden on their shoulder than any corporate organization that has huge overdrafts and huge debt and is composed of 5,000 people. And none of those carry the weight of paying their staff.
I'm more and more convinced I should be doing your course because you know I can hear my wife saying you should do that, because that's an area I fall down. I just get swept away in the joy, the gaiety of it all, the excitement of it all, and getting out and meeting people, and it's so much fun. But that's a really serious point, in that you can't do these things as passionate as you are if you don't know, if you don't have, as you say, the business acumen. And I suppose that is a lot where you come in. So perhaps could you perhaps talk us through the offer, and we'll come to you, Selina, in a minute and ask you sort of your experience of that.
So I have worked for Norfolk County Council for about 14 months. So it's a fairly new role for me. I work in economic development. And we are incredibly privileged to have a cabinet member called Fabian, Chancellor Fabian Eagle.
The irrepressible Fabian.
But I feel very privileged because I come from a very very private organisation, and I worked there my entire adulthood. So coming to public sector and having somebody very kind and very clever say, hey, I will hold your hand through this journey. If you want to do this project, if you want to work with retailers, I am there for you. And that
is so important now.
It was powerful, and he gives me confidence that I'm doing the right thing. I mean, I sometimes step the wrong way and I might need pulling back, but
Who doesn't though?
yeah, I might do it a little bit more than other people, but I am learning about public services in a very fun way.
Well, we'll not dig into that, but I would just say don't lose that, because I think that's valuable, because you're clearly bringing combining the best of both worlds, because it doesn't need to be an either or. That's really really important, I think, because when you spend, like I did, 15 years in Parliament, working in Parliament, where the rules are all, you can probably imagine, the rules are all very strange, and reform comes very, very slowly. I refer now to the process, not the party.
I was just about to say which one.
The process of making things a bit more, normal comes very slowly. It's really important to have all those sort of different things and combining those traits. But anyway, sort of you continue sort of talking about
I started as a high growth business advisor in the new Anglia Growth Hub, which has been transferred from the LEP into Norfolk County Council. So before I started with the council, my old boss, whom is somebody that I care about very deeply, I will let you sort of look up who was the CEO of Adnams at that point.
I think we know. I think most listeners will know who he is.
I had a chat and I said, well, this is what I'd like to do. And I got the boost of confidence that it's the right thing to do, because nobody knows me as deeply. They saw me grow from a 24-year-old, very passionate, incredibly non-diplomatic young lady to sort of, I left Adnams when I was 37, and I left because I wanted to start a family, and I had some very clear guidelines of life, and I didn't want to mix senior executive with sort of motherhood. That was my boundary.
That was your choice, yeah?
It was my choice, and my old fantastic boss said, you'll do good in there, and I trusted that. So started at the council, and then I asked what retail gets from business support, and actually historically retail and hospitality haven't had a support from central or local government.
That was something that really came across in the research. I saw that there's reading around that there's figures from the FSB saying that only about 17% of retailers, presumably members they surveyed, felt that they had engagement, good strong engagement with the local authority, and so
even central government, I think it's to do with, if we think about where we were 10 years ago, we were looking at advanced manufacturing because that would have delivered huge growth, and that is correct, and we looked at life sciences, and we looked at tech and tech finance, and all of those sort of hyper-growing areas of the economy. But the bulk of us live, work, eat and shop in a town or in a village.
That is absolutely right. That is exactly the thought I came to. I mean, I live close to a market town. I live in a village, but I'm in my closest market town many times a week for all sorts of services. It's so important to the way we all live our lives. But again, I've interrupted you when you're making a far more important point.
That's absolutely, it's a discussion. So approximately 1 in 4 of us work in retail, hospitality, and the sort of ecosystem associated with that. That's a lot. So at Norfolk County Council, we said, okay, what can we do in a short period of time with limited resources? Because we were not, we're not a huge budget department. So I sat down with some colleagues. We sat down and I said, okay, in my old role, I was the head of retail for Adnams. We had 13 shops, a website, and I sat in the senior leadership team. What did we deal with on a daily basis? Well, we had strategy, and we all knew what our strategy is. As a big organization, so let's say Norfolk County Council, economic growth, but also as a small department, we knew where we were heading within 12 months, 5 months, and even actually past that. Then just under strategy sat finance. all right? What do we need to achieve? Sales, so what's our turnover? What's our profit? What's our margin like? What's driving our economics? Then we looked at pricing, because retailers buy goods. They might model them, they might change them a bit, or might just sell them as they come. So there's an added value there. So we buy and sell. Therefore, the buying element for a retailer is just as important as the selling. So when we designed the course, I sat down and I thought, what did I do in my old job? I did a bit of HR, I did a bit of health and safety, I did marketing, a huge amount of that. Ops, we did a lot of ops. And ops sits into a sort of dark hole. Nobody wants to talk about operational efficiency and productivity, but that is just as important to a retailer, a hospitality business, and our course as the shiny marketing strategy. Then we talked about e-commerce and online and our brand online, and we had some fantastic speakers on our course. And then I was very surprised about this, but merchandising was a big part of what I did in my old role. I actually studied merchandising when I did my degree when I was an 18-year-old. Can you believe that? I did economics, I did management at uni, and merchandising I studied for 2 semesters, and I used it at work. I know, right? Lucky. How many of us can say, I did this module at uni and I actually use it at work?
I can't say that. I can't say that. And it's funny because you talk about merchandising. For an April Fool's joke this year, I came up with sort of, you can do this now, mock-up mug online with the Eastern Promise logo and T-shirts. My Eastern Promise is slightly on the her. And, or if you're in Suffolk, slightly on the sosh. And I put that up there and and somebody actually commented and said, you do know we would actually buy these, don't you? And I'm like, yeah, okay, but I've never done anything about it, mainly because money. But yeah, that's really fascinating that you've brought that grounding.
So that's how we designed the retail excellence part of the program. Norfolk High Streets Matter is a fairly sort of a slightly bigger program. There's 2 of us that work. There's Ian, who's the market town manager, and I deliver sort of the retail specific stuff. And then we put it together. We did quite a lot of work around it. We launched it in May, so it's a very new program. The Norfolk District Council went, actually, you guys are doing something really cool. We wanna help. So
I love that.
So they did. Do you know what? They put an arm around me and they taught me how to design a grant scheme. I didn't know that before. I was very new to public services. And between Norfolk High Streets Matter and Norfolk High Streets Matter, we made a team, and these guys that came on the course, they don't know there's 2 local authority people on that they work. It's very, people get confused, where do I work sometimes? I work for Norfolk County Council. They go, okay, but I saw you in Norfolk District Council, because we're a team. So we're really privileged to have John Toyne, so that's Economic Growth Cabinet member, and they just, Fabian and John, sit together around the table and we help. And I find that deeply helpful, because I heard a lot before I joined public service that there's political divide. Actually, on this program we brought hearts and minds together to actually help business.
You will find that there are, outside of political lines, and in fact you find this even in Westminster, there are people who will come around a table, they will get on and they will do the best they can, and they will not seek to make too much political hay out of it, because at the end of the day it's for the good of the communities. And what I think is interesting is, talked about central government, yes, it has a role, it's sort of guarding the purse strings, but by nature they will try and come up with a one-size-fits-all strategy, because it's too time-consuming and difficult to go down the hierarchy or up the hierarchy, depending on your point of view. What you've done is you've slowly sort of zoomed in to the most sort of micro local level you can, and that's the essence of it, is that you're working with the people who know the community best, and I think that's so important.
I do, but you know what I want to really do?
Go on then.
I'll tell you one of my favourite parts that happened. So we did either the first or the last workshop, Selina. I can't remember where it was. And then Selina asked me if I would come and see her shop. I got so excited about that because I got to do what I want to do. I could be, because I built a relationship with Selina, so I could be very honest about all the potential improvements that could be made. From a tweak on signage to merchandising to flow of the shop to training to how to shout about our brands. In Norfolk, we do amazing products. Do we shout about them? We do not shout about how we don't have that ability to be very shouty about look how good I am. And then that's the feedback I gave one of your makers.
Yes, definitely. They really appreciated it when you came in, actually.
It's hard because it kind of goes against the grain of almost cultural grain to be, don't get above yourself.
Well, it works lovely because I'd been on these courses with Alex, and so I knew her, and like you say, we got to know each other quite well. So she came in to buy the boards, and we work, we have voluntary people, the people, arts and crafts people who are with us are the ones who actually open the shop for us. That's how we manage to keep the business open and get the business running. And it's good because people can come in and talk to the makers. The person, they might actually buy something and the lady's sitting there who made it and said, oh, I made that, that's lovely that you like it. And that's the community feel and everything from it. But it was lovely when Alex came in there with us because actually one of the ladies was in there who she was having a look at how she display things. And she said, oh, this is fantastic because there's Selina going off and saying, oh, she's doing these meetings and part of this group. But we don't really know what she's getting involved in. But then with Alex coming into the shop, it's, oh, I get this. Oh, and then they all wanted to get advice from Alex on it. They all said, can you do this for us? Can you do that for us? But it's really breaking down the boundaries, and you just see everything they saw everything from Alex giving us help, us giving them help, them giving the community help, and that all goes through the line.
It flows from that. And I know Alex is sitting right here, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but Alex is sort of, and she can correct me if I'm wrong, but she really sort of seems to be sort of saying that, yes, she gave you those tools to grow and expand and make what you do a viable proposition. Not that it wasn't already, but you know what I mean. But she also sort of delivered a bit of what I would call tough love.
She grounded us. She grounds us. You see how Jo is and how I am and how passionate we are about our business. And we sort of go, like Jo says, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do that. I want to buy the boards in every marketplace. I want that community feel that we've got here everywhere. I really want people to support their high streets. Like Alex said, you can see the goods, you can feel the goods. The personal feel of it, we've got somebody in at the moment, she said about bringing the family and creating that atmosphere. We've got somebody in, a mosaic person, and she actually puts into the grout, really, cement of the mosaic, your dog's ashes. She can actually put that in there. It's a personal feel that you can buy. She can do a mosaic of your dog from a picture, and then the actual ashes are in. I mean, that sort of passion and that sort of relationship, and like you say, creating memories. I mean, somebody came there, they gave a picture to this lady of their dog. She'd done that for them, and that cherished dog is now with them in that mosaic. Yeah. I mean, you can't, that sort of feeling you can't get online. And, you know, I say, Alex is grounding us onto that. She's very good support, not only on the course, but afterwards. You see, we're talking hair, we're doing all of this. That's down to her bringing us together.
And she's clearly built that relationship. Please don't feel awkward. You've clearly built that relationship with you, you know, in advance, so that she could deliver those messages, that grounding, in a way that's been obviously, and I can tell, really well received and really positively embraced. And that's not easy to do because I've seen a lot of cases of people who just try and sweep in and tell you everything you're doing wrong, and our great wisdom delivered from on high will now save you, rather than obviously the approach that's come in this case from Alex and from the council's partners who've learned and embraced what you do.
Yes, her voice is louder than everybody else's now, because with 55 people in with us, everybody think they know how we need to run the business. That we've got a lovely, great group of people in with us, but they all want to. We have to keep them all going in the same direction and working with each other like they do. But instead of listening to their voice all the time and them saying, oh, I think we should do this, I think we should do that, we're saying, no, we've got good advice and this is what we're doing. So it really does ground us in a good way.
And you've got to sort of obviously keep that coalition together as well. But could you just quantify for me where you feel you were when this started? When you started the process and the High Streets Matter and the Retail Excellence Programme, to when you came out the other side? I mean, sort of compare and contrast for me if you could.
Well, when this started, we'd not been in business before. I've worked for companies, I still work for another company, but we hadn't been in business ourselves. We always wanted to do something, but we didn't know what, and we wanted to support the crafts and arts community. That's where we came from. We were, lucky in starting it up very quickly. It all took off very, very quickly. But then it meant that somebody was listening to us. So we went from sort of staggering around with this business that took off very quickly, is successful, started quite successful, but then it's how do we keep this going? How do we then ground ourselves, know what we need to do? Like you say, make a little bit of money just to plough back into the business, because then you can expand. Realise that you do need that money to plough back into the business to expand. Do workshops, do sell a few craft items, do things that can then bring in a little bit of money to support the business that you've got there. Then you can help other businesses in other areas and yourselves to grow. So we came from, as I say, just staggering around with this business. We got this business that took off very quickly, and what do we do now? Everybody telling us how we need to run our business, and are we doing it right? I think that was the main thing. We knew we must be doing something right, but we didn't know what we were doing right.
You all asked me when we started, it's not going to be too noisy in here. It's because I wanted people, because I was really confident looking around that this is going to get busy. And lo, people can hear the atmosphere, the sound of coffee being made on the regular.
And actually, when we were talking here, a gentleman came in and sat at that table who's a regular who comes in with us. He comes in, he brings his little dog in, has a few treats, and he chats to us, and then he sort of sat there for a little while and then went. So that's the community. They go to all of us, and support all of us, and that's great.
Do you want to go for a walk?
I do want to go for a walk, but for just this part, I just, reflect on everything we've heard, and what's the message you and the council want people to take from this conversation?
First of all, I would like to say is that the program is pilot, and we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot how to engage with people, how to get more people on board. We worked in 6 towns. We worked in Fakenham and North Walsham. We're now working in Sheringham and Aylsham. We did this, and we actually tried to work in Attleborough, but we have only found a handful of businesses that we could engage with. So moving forward, we will continue to work. We have this first town cohort, so North Walsham, Fakenham, and this. Then we will have the current cohort, which is Sheringham, Aylsham, and Attleborough. And then next year, I want to still work with these people. So at the end of the first sort of Retail Excellence 6 workshops, I sent some feedback forms out, and everybody was really happy but they wanted more. They wanted time management. They wanted some leadership skills. They wanted some HR advice. So I will continue next year, should we get funding, to support the current cohort. And I think we're about 128 connected to the program for this year. The next year, we'd love to do more towns and get more people together with the lessons we've learned now. Because, for example, Selina would love to open more sites. So, working in Aylsham, there's some contacts there that she can tap into. There's a couple of people that I've put in contact with Joseph, because actually there's some lessons to learn there. So I'd love to continue the work we do at this level. It's a pilot project. It's not a massive one, but we are connecting people together. Out of these workshops, there's what we call toolkit coming out. There's the one-page strategy, there's top tips for merchandising, there's sales by the coast. They're available on our website. We've just put them on a page. Anybody can get them. Norfolk, Suffolk, Cambridgeshire, it doesn't matter where we are. You can download it and work with it, because actually they are important, easy to access tools to work with. Now, out of these sort of 2 cohorts, summer and winter, we are starting a very snazzy, short and happy high growth program. We had 12 places. We've extended it to 15. So in January and February, we've got 3 workshops. Growth and diversification, behind the scenes at Gerald's, because Nick Stephen-Jones, the CEO, was...
Good old Nick.
And
our most popular episode is Nick Stephen-Jones. Carry on, sorry.
Nick's fantastic, and I was really privileged to have him put an arm around our program and help. So with people like Selina that make stuff, crafts and beautiful jewellery, would benefit hugely to see how it works behind the scene at our biggest department store in Norfolk, because that's a way in as a supplier for the crafters. So that's experience we can bring back into the local community and go, all right, you guys want to be stocked in Harrods? Here's some tips. We might not get stocked in Harrods, but we might get stocked in Gerald's. Who knows?
I think that's better, actually.
And then the last one is deep dive into e-commerce. And when I say deep dive, this is Nathan Lomax from Quickfire Digital, who is incredibly inspirational, and the energy on that company and that man is like amazing. And I do miss retail sometimes. When I work in that environment, I go, oh, I miss retail. But then, so he's going to come in and really give us some deep, very micro advice that changes the dial on a website. So that's our high growth program. At the end, everybody can apply for a £2,000 grant to grow their business. And in the greater economies of scale, 2,000 might not sound a lot, but do you know how much we can do with 2,000 in a shop? A lot. So the Retail Excellence Norfolk people, businesses, Norfolk District Council gave a £500 grant. Doesn't sound a lot, £500, and the paperwork was big. But I tell you what, some of us bought scissors and florist equipment and can now do a florist business. As silly as it sounds, when you're young and don't have those funds, it made a world of difference. Some people just bought signage for their windows, and their windows look beautiful now. Some of us got photography, professional photography done for handmade jewellery. That makes a world of difference to the website. So that small amount of money enabled us to do some projects and change the dial. In the high growth one, it's £2,000. It's a significant amount of money that we can invest in the businesses. And we were able, initially we had budget for 12, and we were able, from the savings we've made for running the program, to extend that to 15 places. And I'm very, very excited. So that's what the program's going to do in January and February next year. And then, fingers crossed, we can extend into another year.
So I think what you're describing is basically, we talked about sort of growth, and we all know where the government is looking for these things. But I think what you've described is just as important as those huge investments, because what you're basically doing is helping people to help themselves and creating places that are going to generate that income, because people don't want to travel necessarily. It's getting expensive to travel long distances, so people can come here and spend their money in their locality, and growth comes that way too. Before we get going, what are the conditions? What are the things you have to be part of this scheme?
At the moment, it is an inclusive program, so I have actually not put any conditions other than be a Norfolk-based business. And if you're slightly over the border, it doesn't mean we can't come and talk to me about it. Because retail is a circular thing. So you could be a high-end finance tech guy in London, and you're retiring at 45 because you're completely burnt out, and you bought a really beautiful property in the countryside, and you want to start up an online business because you've got a world of experience and some fantastic contacts, and you're going to work in your beautiful garage printing t-shirts. But actually, I want to talk to you now, because you could open a shop, or you can sell your goods to Selina, and then you might have a market stall, and then you can go and get a spot in a franchise community shop. So actually, I want to talk to everybody, from the backbenchers doing things in their home to the department stores that actually employ 250 people and have a turnover of 35 million, because we are a community of retail. Retail is an ecosystem, and you might have just closed your shop that sells paint because people no longer come to a high street to buy paint, but you have got fantastic knowledge that can help another business on a business park, which we don't see as retail. We don't see it as high street because they're on a business park. And actually, I can connect you to that fairly big business, and they can open a paint side of their diversification in their business and their big retail element. So there is it's an ecosystem that everybody is welcome, as long as they are have a business or a sole trade or an idea to come and they want to learn. So in North Walsham, at our first workshop, we had a beautiful gifts shop called Heart and Soul Emporium, which is just, we can go and see it, at this side of the table, and the local candle maker called Nor Candles, Faye, at this side. She wasn't stocked in North Walsham because she didn't know anybody in North Walsham. And Nor Candles has potential to be a national brand. I am incredibly passionate about Faye's business, and I will help as much as I can there. So if anything came out is the fact that the local beautiful gift shop and the local candle maker connected. And she's on industrial estate, slightly removed, but still North Walsham, still a business, still a retailer. And anecdotally, I'm going to talk about, in our sort of few weeks back, we had a pricing session, and I am passionate about pricing. If there's something I am passionate about, is pricing. Demographics, systems, pricing models, pricing psychology, that is what I am really, really passionate about and can change the dial for a business. Anyhow, we talked about left-hand bias, so how we buy before the dot, so with £9.99 feels much cheaper than £10. So people like Amazon have huge teams devoted to pricing strategies. So they employ over 100 people in their pricing strategy team. A lot of them have PhDs in psychology, decision making. So very, very clever people that help us make decisions or influence our decisions. Now, left-hand bias is a sort of common term in retail, and actually I wasn't surprised that nobody really knew about it. You did because you're an accountant. Say £9.99 is cheaper than £10. It isn't, because you come home with a P, but you will buy £4.99 more than you buy £5.19 because it's a threshold. Anyway, so a lot of people do their pricing structure by adding a percentage to their cost price that comes in. So it will be £1.17 for a sausage roll or £2.47 for a coffee because they've added 12%, right? So one of the businesses on there, and I said, look, round up your prices. A customer will pay £2.19 instead of £2.17 for an item because it doesn't make a huge difference, the 2p. But you sell 200 of those items in a day. To you, it means that you can maybe paint a wall or invest back in your business or pay your staff a bit better. So one of the businesses on the course went back and she looked at her top 10 products since the beginning of January. This exercise happened in October. She would have made £10,037 more sales if her top products were sort of rounded up to the nearest decimal. So instead of 137, it was 139. £10,000. Yeah.
My goodness me.
So that's a
Can we clone you as well?
That's a small. I'm not sure the world is actually ready for that.
Let's do it.
So that's quite a small detail, but I work with these businesses and business owners to talk about pricing, to talk about promotional activity, to talk about planning the year, to talk about value for money for the customer, but also for themselves. So it does lead a bit into consultancy, and that's not really what historically we do at the Norfolk County Council, but that's okay, because crossing that boundary into consultants for 5 minutes doesn't break anybody's sort of boundaries, really, and it helps those businesses achieve more profit and more sustainable businesses. So it's pretty, look, there's people around.
There are, but I would call this a lot. I mean, for a town the size of North Walsham, I'd call this a lot of people.
But look, North Walsham in Bloom, there's a not-for-profit organisation here who plants, and it sounds ridiculous, but how many towns have these planters in their empty or full of weeds or cigarette butts? They don't. They've got their winter pansies on, and they care. You can see it makes a difference, all these really little added things. The Christmas lights are now on.
Already? Goodness me.
Well, they're not on yet.
They're up. They're not on. No. And there's a boot there, which is rare enough in and of itself. It does matter because it's an indicator. But you're right. It's all these little elements, and the more people have pride in place, the more likely they are to keep it that way.
And I like North Walsham because it's not super posh. You know, it's a working town. You come here with your family, you come and do groceries, you go to the bank, you can treat yourself to the theatre, you can come again and again and again, and there's obviously an aeroplane above us.
Yes,
what I like here is that it feels real. It's not your
Yes.
fairy tale. I live in
It's-
Southwold. You go to Southwold. I live in Raydon because Southwold is not quite as affordable as other areas.
I'm surprised to hear you describe it in the ambit as being vaguely affordable.
Yeah, so I live on the outskirts there, and Southwold High Street is beautiful. I mean, it's mythical. Come on, think about it. Who has a straight high street, straight down the line, with a beach at the end and a fantastic pier and parking on the high street? A brewery that's been there since the 1600s. Of course, it's the dream. But shopping on the high street, there is a beautiful newsagent that we used the other day with my son, a greengrocers, a deli, but the brands there are actually a bit more higher end than my current budget for raising a young family. There's super charm about Southwold, but here in North Walsham, it's real. We can go to the American Pizza and pay £3 for a slice of pizza. If that's our budget today, because we're teenagers on break from school, that's okay, that's what it should be. Or we can go and have some beautiful food around the corner in a fantastic restaurant. There's something for everybody, and actually
Yes,
that
it's
matters.
got all the bases covered.
Yeah. It covers all the demographics. So when you look around, I saw some young families, I saw some older generation, I see some sort of I saw some people in wheelchairs because it's now accessible, because it's one level, and there's a lot that matters. It helps with social mobility, it helps with loneliness. I think this is home. It feels like a home, so it matters to me, that.
From showrooms and shops to stalls and market barrows, the support package offered by Norfolk County Council, in cahoots with the new Anglia Growth Hub and the FSB, is leaving our high street heroes confident, prepared and above all inspired. My thanks to Alexandra, to the tireless councillor Fabian Eagle, Norfolk County Council Cabinet Member for Economic Growth, the lovely folk at the Black Swan, not our first pub visit, fact fans, and above all, the wonderful people of North Walsham. Those who eagerly pronounce the High Street dead have it wrong. It's not dead, it's evolving into something new and exciting, and Norfolk County Council is blazing a trail to make sure this transformation is a success. To find out more about the High Streets Matter initiative, including the Retail Excellence Programme, follow the link in the show notes for this podcast. And that is it. That's it for episode 149 of the Eastern Promise podcast. I have been Mike Rigby, and will be so again next week for episode
150!
when my guests will be a smorgasbord of innovators and entrepreneurs from across Suffolk and beyond, as Eastern Promise takes to the stage for the 5th birthday celebrations of Haverhill's Epicentre. We last visited the Epicentre way back in episode 11, and I am pleased and proud to be back. I'll be hosting panels on finance, AI, health and well-being, and engineering skills. Join me for that in 7 short days from now. Let's synchronise watches. And Mark! Until then, bye for now. Cheers, Graham! To hear other episodes of the Eastern Promise podcast and to find out more about what we do, go to our website at easternpromise.org.uk. Eastern Promise is a Pudding Shed production in proud association with Mills and Reeve. Achieving more together.